Testing, sound check, 1, 2. Okay, so today, this is going to be a little short. I'm going to take a pause from the live streams that I've been doing, composing that Omnisphere thing, and we're going to work on these jazz chords today. I've been writing this new thing that kind of was spawned by this voice leading practicing that I was doing. And that was inspired by this Kenny Werner video I saw today that was all about using random chords and going from one chord to the next with good voice leading and how that can really make all the difference. So that's exactly what I did. I chose some random bass notes, I chose some random chord qualities, and the melody just kind of came out of that voice leading. So I think what I'll try to do, hey, how you guys doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're talking about jazz chords today. So what I'm going to try to do first is play this this little thing that I wrote, which is still kind of rough, but hopefully I won't mess it up too bad. And then we'll talk about why it works and how it kind of came about. So here we go. By the way, can everybody hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? Volume is good with the vocals and the keyboard? I just need, yeah, okay, cool. Great. So here it goes. This is Untitled. This is where I forget the chord. So that's all I have right now. It's short, but there's a lot going on there harmonically. So I'll try to play it again without the mess ups. All right, that's it. That was a little better than the first time. And let's talk about the harmony. So first, I think I'll start with just the chords that I was messing with the voice leading, just really focusing on the voice leading. So I chose random bass notes and random chord qualities, and the melody just came out of that. Again, this is based on some Kenny Werner exercise that I hadn't encountered before. I mean, I've done stuff like this, but not specifically to focus on voice leading. By the way, before I get into this, if you guys are looking to work on your voicings and things like that, if you haven't checked out my collection of voicings called Sick Chords Volume 1, I highly recommend it. It's linked in one of the cards in the top, I think up here, and go check that out. Some of the voicings that I'm playing in this piece are actually in that collection, so definitely worth a look if you haven't had a chance to check it out just yet. So the first voicing that I started with is this guy. Anybody know what voicing this is? I think you could call it a couple of different things. It's coming out of that D Aeolian mode, but you could call it like a D minor 7 flat 13, D minor 7 flat sharp 5, or D minor 9 sharp 5. There's a couple of different ways to interpret this, but the important thing here is how we get from this chord to the next chord. So what I did was, the next bass note that I chose randomly was A, and I should say the next root of the chord I chose was A, because I'm not actually going to play A in the bass for the next chord. And then the chord quality that I chose was, I believe, like a 6/9. So we're going from here to here. Hey, Patrick, the link is well, if you go into my website, I don't know it offhand, but if you go into my website, which is www.jeffshenrys.com/store/stove, that'll take you to the store, and then you can use that link to find Sick Chords Volume 1. So we're going from here to here. This is that D minor flat 13 chord going to A 6/9. And look at the voice leading. What I'm really focusing on here is how each voice is just moving by a little bit, right? The D is going down to C sharp. The F is going up to F sharp. This B flat is going down to A. And this C is going down to B. So we hit all the notes for the chord, and we do so in an arrangement that I think everything's just moving by a half step. Do you guys see that? So you have two chords that aren't related at all in terms of like functional harmony, but it sounds really good, especially since you have this common tone on top. So let's keep going. That's the third chord right here. This originally was conceived as a B flat, some sort of B flat altered chord, like. But you could also think of this as like an E altered. So you could think of it as this would be like a B flat 7 sharp 11 sharp 9. If you think of it as an E, this would just be like an E 13 flat 9. You know, it's got that tritone relationship. That's why that tritone substitution works so well, because the notes that work on an E altered are generally the same notes that would be on a B flat altered. Okay, so we have this one to this one to this one. These are just the chords. Now, I developed a melody out of this just going by what I heard, basically. So. Now, the idea here when I was writing the melody was to continue this idea of this shape here. And then I massaged the notes so that it fit the new chord. So for the first chord, second chord, right, we have to make that G a G sharp. We have to make that C a C sharp. Is that clear? What's tritone substitution? That's where you substitute one dominant chord for another, and those two dominant chords are a tritone away. A tritone is 3 whole steps. That's right, massaging the notes. That's one of my patented terms. So we're massaging the notes in the melody to fit the chords, keeping the same idea, just changing what needs to be changed in order to make it fit the new chord. My dog is trying to scratch into the room in case you hear somebody trying to break in. Yeah, I've got a bunch of videos on tritone substitution. All right. Let's continue. We're on this chord now, and we're going to jump up to this bad boy. And this chord is so much fun to play. There's a lot of different ways to interpret it. There's a lot of diminished stuff happening in here. You can see that F sharp diminished chord. But we have all these other notes in here too. It's almost like two diminished chords on top of one another, like that voicing right there, which is, you see that fully diminished chord, and then this is up a whole step. So this is like F sharp diminished 7, G sharp diminished 7. Hey everybody. Yeah, I know, super crunchy, David, super crunchy. Now here's a cool tip for diminished chords. When you're voicing them, if you want to add some of that crunch, like David does, you basically take your fully diminished chord and you add a whole step above any of those notes. So we could add the F right here. We could add the D. We could add the B. We could add the G sharp. And depending on how you want to, voice that, if you want to do an open voicing or a closed voicing, adding any note that's a whole step above any of the notes in the regular fully diminished 7th chord is going to add some really nice crunch. And it's basically coming from that diminished scale, the symmetrical one. So if we have this chord, right? That's the diminished scale. Yeah, you could definitely do a drop voicing. Let's go on. Let's do a quick review. We're just gonna do the chords. I'm gonna leave out the melodic content for now so you can see the voice leading. And then we go to this chord. Now this is an A flat major 13, something or other. And I have the E flat in the bass. But you know, if you put the A flat down here, right, it sounds totally fine. Now the voicing came out of, originally it came from here. All this stuff up here was added later. So originally I was going from this chord, which as I said is sort of that B flat, sharp 11, sharp 9, B flat 7, sharp 11, sharp 9. That's how it was originally conceived. But then I go to this chord right here. So again, let's take a look at the voice leading, right? That's what this is all about. The E is going up to the F. The D flat is going down to the C. The A flat is staying where it is. The F is moving up to G, and the D is moving up to E flat. So I'll go between those two chords. So in addition to checking out something like Sit Chords Volume 1, which is my collection of voicings, you can discover your own voicings through this type of voice leading practice. You're going to get all different kinds of voicings because everything is coming out of what you played before. And especially if you do this random bass note approach, you're going to get all kinds of crazy stuff. So, you know, I don't think I've ever played this voicing before, but it certainly works well and it sounds great in context. So how many chords are we up to now? We have this one, we have this one, we have this one, and we have this one. So I'm really barely moving my hands here, but we're getting tons of different sounds because of the note selection. Okay. On to the next one. What's next? So the melody that comes after this A flat chord, this B flat, then resolving to A flat, sort of like an A flat power chord almost. And then I glissando down to C while going from E flat to E. And this is what's going to get me into the next sort of tonal center, which is going to be F minor. Part of the reason I wanted to go to this really bare bones A flat is because it clears the air. We had so much harmonic content, you know, coming out of these chords. I mean, it's really refreshing, I think, to go from all that cacophony to finally like this very pure, you know, sound based on fifths and octaves. And that chord progression right there, that harmonic movement, is nothing too wild and crazy. I mean, that's going from, you know, if A flat is the 1 chord, we're going to the 6th chord. We're going to F minor. And then we're settling there for a second. So that's another sort of technique that I wanted to use just to balance things out. If you have all of this crazy harmony, it can be really good to like let everybody breathe for a second. Is this making sense? You guys sticking with me? Yeah, a little gospel-y. This software is OBS. That's the streaming software. And loopback audio is what I'm using to get the audio. Okay. So, after we get to the A flat, we're using this E. This is like a very open C augmented chord. And that C augmented chord is going to lead us to F minor. Now from the F minor, I'm trying to think of what what happened here. So F minor. Oh yeah, then we go to E flat major 7. Again, just a 3-note chord, but really smart voice leading. It's okay to omit the 5th, but you can also bring it in there if you like. G minor, E flat major 7, keeping this D where it is, that's the common tone. You know, speaking of the voice leading, keeping your common tones where they are. Yep, I'm gonna play the whole sequence from the top in just a bit. Okay? Now this interval here, this B flat to the F, I'm using as sort of an echo of the melody from before. So maybe this would be a good opportunity to play the, you know, where we are so far for everybody that's just joined. So this is what we have. Okay, let's break that down. Melodically though, do you hear what I was talking about? You know, we're trying to continue this phrase. Let me see if I can just play the melody, because the melody really is important. When you have all these crazy chords, even with the good voice leading, if you want to use, you know, some extra melodic embellishments to give you some more melodic content besides just like the top note of each voicing, I think it's really helpful to try to take an idea and develop it. So, you know, we started with, right? Do de bu da do beep boo boo do ba. De do beep boo de do beep boo be la do ba boo de la do. Oops. So there's that 5th. Now, the next chord that I had picked out of the hat essentially was F sharp half diminished. So coming from this voicing and going to this voicing. So it's going from like a 3-note voicing to a 4-note voicing. This B flat splitting up and down, going to C, going down to A. The D is going up to E. The G is going down to F sharp. So again, very, very clean voice leading here. And I think when I chose this one, I was like, I got to throw something in that's kind of totally out there and see what happens. And I came up with this B flat major 7 sharp 5. Again, when I picked these chords, I wasn't playing them. I just picked them randomly with like a random note generator, and I just came up with random chord qualities. So I was like, okay, let's do major 7 sharp 5. Let's see if we can make it work. And it works. Why? Because of the voice leading. That's what makes all the difference. So if we come from the E flat, I'll do that one more time nice and slow. And there's another 5th, D up to A, the 3 up to the 7. And now with that A on the top, we're going to hold it there as our common tone to get us to the next chord, which is going to be this. B, what is this? B7 with the sharp 11 and the 9. So B7 or B9 sharp 11, you can call this. Yeah, it's all about these voicings and voice leading. Chromatic down. D minor 11. D flat major 9. Another 5th. And listen to the voice leading here. These are all voicings everybody can learn easily. This is just going up in thirds. D minor 9. D flat major 9. And I'm adding this melodic content on top. B flat down to B flat again, kind of echoing what we did before on the, I think it was on the A flat major 13 chord. So now we're doing it on this D flat major 9 chord. And then we're finally going to end up on This is like this is an A9 sharp 11. And I think when I played it, I did this kind of little tinkle on top, which is just basically playing B major. Side note, if you're playing like an A7, you want to make it a nice A7 sharp 11, you can play a B major triad on top of it. And this pattern here is just playing the triad, sort of the outside notes, inside notes, outside. I'm basically playing this. Just inverting the chord, but I'm doing these broken chords. So that's one little way you can embellish that. And that's the whole chord progression that I have. So again, it's all about the voice leading here. I'll play it one more time all the way through and really pay attention, not even just to the melody, but rather focus on how the chords are just moving a little bit at a time in terms of the notes. That's what this is all about, voice leading. Here we go. Okay, so I'll take some questions now if you guys have any. Okay, aside from memorizing tones, what is your guide in modulating your progression? These chords, as I said, are just randomly chosen. I chose the chords completely randomly. The bass note, I chose random bass notes, and then I did chord qualities, just basically picked out of a hat. And I let those chord qualities and those bass notes inform what the chord progression was. And from that, with good voice leading, this melody sort of emerged. I kicked off with a voicing that I liked. I started with this one, and from there I just let each voicing determine the following voicing. And then from there I just added some melodic embellishment to create something that was somewhat interesting. So is voice leading the key to good progressions? Voice leading, that's a great question. Voice leading is certainly an important part of creating a good chord progression. I can write out a chord progression for you and it might not sound good because the voicings that you choose and the voice leading that you use they're just not, it's just not happening. So I think it's more how you play it than what you play. So you need to have good voicings and you need to have good voice leading. If you need voicings, help with your voicings, check out Sick Chords Volume 1. As I said, it's on my website and there's hundreds of voicings there for these types of chords. And then for voice leading, it's really it's this kind of practicing. It's like finding ways to get from voicing A to voicing B using common tones and half steps if you can. That's what's going to glue it all together. Nuno Gabriel asks, Jeff, a quick question. With the right voice leading, can you turn parallel fifths not so blocky? Well, parallel fifths are not that bad. Parallel fifths were not done in the days of sort of traditional counterpoint writing, but they've been used all the time for the past over 100 years. So there's nothing wrong with using parallel fifths. It's got a certain sound, and what I would say is be able to identify that sound. And if you like it, then use it. If you don't like it, then don't. But there's certainly a sound there. G11MZ has not donated $75. Nice try. But if you guys do want to support this live stream, there is the option to use the super chat at the bottom, which is that $sign down here. Okay, other questions. Superboy says, it's super complex from a basic theory understanding, but I just need to spend some time learning jazz theory. Yes and no. Knowing the jazz theory is really helpful for this type of playing, especially for when you're doing, those moments where you're kind of going into a more functional space, like when I did that thing, going from the, that A flat to the C augmented to the F minor. Like that is functional harmony. But as I said, these chords were not chosen with any theoretical, not that one aside, but the way this piece originated was with chords chosen at random, with no theory in mind at all, just riding on the voice leading. So it does definitely help to know the theory, but most of what I wrote here was not based on any theoretical decisions. How do you keep my live? It's going to stay on my channel after this, so you don't have to worry about it. Any other questions? Yes, this will be uploaded to my channel. All right, looking for some other questions here. How do I think that music will evolve? If you want to predict the future, you look at the past. That's kind of my thought. Kind of light on the questions tonight, people. Well, how much can I lift? Not as much as I used to, unfortunately. Neo soul chords. The neo soul chords are just like the chords I'm playing now, but maybe with like a Rhodes piano or something. In fact, just for the heck of it, let's hear what this would sound like if we threw on like something like this. It's just loading. Yeah, so it's got a little bit more like a Chick Corea vibe. But can we drop you the sense when not live? You can drop me the sense. Well, if you haven't picked up Sick Chords Volume 1, that's a great way to do it. But you can also do it on Patreon. I have a Patreon page. And that's a great opportunity just to get some extra content too. All right, so back to the neo soul chords. The neo soul chords are just like this. It's using common tones and good voice leading. There's nothing really that different about it. It's just sort of like to taste, like how much spice do you want on a piece of music? Some people might want more, some people might want less. And of course, a lot of it has to do with the groove and everything too. Okay, Thoughts on the Jazz Piano Book by Mark Levine. Love that book. That's an excellent book. Are Roman numerals really all that great? Yes. Roman numerals are essential for understanding jazz theory. Again, not as applicable in this scenario because I chose the chords randomly. But for instance, as I referenced that example before, the A flat going to C augmented, that would be 1, 5 of 6, and 6. And if you understand the relationship of those Roman numerals, you can then play in any key that you want with the same kind of sound and be able to get the sound that you want, the one that you hear in your head. Yeah, the Keyscape Rhodes is a lot of fun. Jack asks, what's the best style of chords to maximize some tension and release when composing? Like this tune here. Well, there's a little bit of opinion there, like what is tension, what is release. Like some people might think that, like this chord, that's a little bit of tension and release if you ask me. So it's hard to say. I mean, I don't know if there's like a best style. I don't know if there's a style. Is it best to go 3rd to 7 or vice versa? I'm not entirely sure what that means. Okay, here's a nice question here. Does your music theory get in the way of expressing the emotion in the composition? Do you feel it gets too technical and forgets the audience and what it's trying to express? I don't. I think the music theory is just like learning grammar when you're going to write something. When you write, you're not thinking about grammar. It's kind of the same with music theory. Like, the music theory helps you understand the music, but when it comes to actually creating something, at the end of the day, you still want to just be going by what you hear in your head. Where are you guys coming from, by the way? We got Dahoud Salah from France. If you have to take an F6 chord with the 3rd or 7th, take preference over the 6th. An F6 chord is going to generally have like this, basically. You would not play the 7th on a 6th chord. Hello, Sax Bandits in the UK. Cancun, all right. We got the international crowd. Love it. Corey in St. Louis. YouTube musicians have come a long way. Do you feel stability in the platform, or like Rick Beato, do you think that eventually you'll need to evolve to live streaming regularly like you're doing? I mean, I like to live stream because it's easy to just go on live and make a video, and I don't have to edit it or anything when it's done, and I get to talk to you guys, which is, a lot of fun for me. There's definitely something to be said for like a video that's well produced, that's edited well, that's made engaging with different kinds of production techniques and things like that. But I don't think that the platform is going anywhere. I don't think there's anything about YouTube that's going anywhere. Live is a lot of fun though. It's just different. It's not better or worse. Am I from Canada? No, I'm from the States. How about demonstrating the process with, say, 3 short? Okay, yeah. Why don't we try it out? Let's do a little demo here from scratch. So, people, name some random notes. We'll take like 3 random notes. Hey, Paolo from Spain. Just type in a random note and some random chord qualities separately. Don't say like D minor 7. Just like write D and then somebody else write minor 7. Okay, we got a G flat. We got a G sharp and a C sharp. Okay, we'll use those 3 notes. Okay, chord qualities, please. Chord qualities. We got 3. We only need 3. Chord qualities. Not note names. I know there's a little delay here. Okay, we got a minor major 7, minor, and a major 9. Good. Okay, that's good. We only need 3. We're doing 3. It's going to be a short example. All right, so we have G flat. These are the bass notes, or the roots at least. G flat, G sharp, and C sharp. I'm going to go back to piano just so it's a little clearer. All right, G sharp, C sharp. No, G flat, G sharp, and C sharp. I'm just going to do all flats just to make it easier on myself. G flat, A flat, and D flat. Those are the bass notes, and then the first chord qualities suggested were minor major 7, minor, and major 9. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just pick a voicing to kick off with for this G flat minor major 7. If anybody doesn't know, a minor major 7 chord is where you play a minor 7 chord, and then instead of the minor 7, you play a major 7. There you go. So why don't we just start with like a basic, root position chord like this and see where that takes us. We'll stick with these 4 notes. Although 6s sound really nice on minor major 7 chords. But let's try it with just these 4 notes. Okay, so the next bass note is going to be A flat, and our next chord quality is minor. So essentially some sort of A flat minor. So where are these, now it's just a matter of thinking about where the notes are going to go. You want to make sure you get to the important ones, like, the 3s and the 7s are good to have, and the roots are often good to have. So we definitely need a 3 in here. So I'm thinking, okay, well, what note is closest to the 3? It's going to be this A or this D flat. And if we're going to a minor chord, it might be kind of nice to keep the D flat in here as the 11. And you didn't specify if it's like straight up minor or like a minor 11 or anything like that. So I'm going to go with something a little fancy just for the heck of it. We're going to try this voicing here. We're going to try this voicing here. So this is like a flat minor 11 without the fifth. That's what it sounds like with the fifth. And we're just gonna do. So that sounds kind of nice. The next bass note was D flat, and the next chord quality was major 9. So we're going from here to here, and now we need some sort of D flat major 9. So again, we're going to use good voice leading to get us from point A to point B. And just to keep this really simple, think about this, guys. If we have this chord right here, and we want to get to a D flat major 9 chord, how are we going to do that? Well, this B is going to move up to this C. That's going to be our major 7. This G flat's going to move down to this F. And this D flat, well, the D flat can stay where it is, but if we want it to truly be a 9, we might want to go to this E flat here and then use the, add a D flat there to help us out. So all in all, it sounds like this. G flat, minor major 7, A flat minor, and then the D flat, I forgot what I played. I think that's what it was. Sorry, I'm having a brain freeze here. And that sounds, solid. It sounds good. I mean, that could be the beginning of a song. And then I would start to dress it up and add some of those extra notes, like. Right? You can hear where that's going. The B major, I just heard it in my head, so I wanted to play it. But this is what it sounds like. This is sort of the song that we're writing live. So G flat, minor major 7. Pretty cool, right? That's the gist of it. That's the technique. I think I'm gonna go because I'm pretty sure I'm about to eat some dinner with the wife, and it's sushi, so I gotta get there. I gotta get there fast. Okay, thank you guys for watching. And if you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section once the video goes live on my channel. All right, see ya.